Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. I'm Oswyn, and I have with me Lord Night. Today, we're going to discuss elementals.
Elementals. All right. Yay. I like elementals. You like elementals? Elementals can be fun. Elementals can be fun only when you're a third degree and watching second degrees.
That is so wrong.
Let's talk about this. All right. Faith, will, imagination, secrecy.
Right.
These are the four sides of the witch's pyramid.
Right.
Faith is equated with east, which is air, and yellow.
Okay.
Will is associated with the south and fire and staves or wands. Right? Imagination is associated with the west and water, which is cups and all that.
Okay.
And then we have north, which is secrecy, which is associated with the earth and pentacles. All right? I know a lot of people wondering, what in the hell does this have to do with whatever? There is also a fifth element, and that fifth element is known as spirit.
Right.
So let's start with, there's a difference between the elements and the elementals. When we're talking about the elements, we're talking about literally fire, earth, air, and water. When we're talking about the elementals, we are talking about spiritual beings that live on a celestial plane along the same lines as angels and all this other stuff, demons, whatever you want to say. These are things that have never been in human form, might have existed in this realm for a short period of time, and now have left.
Right.
And these five beings, sort of, that we think about when we think about the elementals are represented by the four elements, earth, air, fire, and water.
Right.
Earth, the elemental of earth, is very knowledgeable, logical, and trust me, the whole keeping the word thing for the elemental is a piece of cake. Hence the reason they are associated with secrets. Don't get me wrong. The earth elemental is also about the equivalent of a Vulcan.
Okay.
All right? I mean, it is a complete rational being, void of all emotions, cold-hearted, rational. And then we have air. Air is highly intelligent.
Right.
It has great flexibility, can deal with the changes without anything. Well, it's also the attention deficit of all the elementals.
That's one way to put it.
I'm sorry, keeping the elemental air entertained or cooperating is a task in and of itself.
Sure it is.
All right? When you're sitting there and you're meditating and you're trying to get used to working with them, yeah, tracking this down is like trying to keep up with an 8-year-old going at 90 miles an hour after being in a sugar factory.
Well, I mean, you look at a leaf,
yeah,
blowing in the wind, and it just goes everywhere.
Everywhere.
So, yeah.
Or the plastic bags from the grocery
Yes.
store. Now, I've seen a few people sit there and watch those for hours just float across the road. It's actually quite entertaining.
It's the old folks' entertainment. We just watch the plastic bags float across the yard in the parking lots.
You know, well, for us third degrees, it's not that easy either. So, you know, just saying. Did I talk about why in the world air is associated with faith?
No.
Because you trust it to be there every time you take a breath.
Ah.
It might be distracting. It might go off, but it's always there when you need to take a breath. And you do it without fault.
Right.
That is true faith. Then we have will. Will is associated with fire. The elemental of fire is a raw nerve in a dryer.
Ooh, good analogy.
All right. It is emotion for emotion's sake. It is the complete opposite of earth. It is completely irrational. It's going to be anger for anger's sake. Yes, through fire we can learn to control emotions and control ourselves because fire can control itself to a certain extent, but it's always on that edge. And we also associate this with will, which is nothing more than emotions.
Right.
And your control over your emotions. That way, when we need to be angry, we are angry. When we need to be sad, we are sad. When we need to be loving, we are 100% loving. Then you have water.
Good old water.
Now, water is associated with wisdom and age.
Right.
It's also associated with imagination. Because there's not a single crevice you can't imagine water not getting into at some point.
Right.
It's patient. It's diligent. It will sit there and take its own sweet time for as long as it takes.
Think about if your basement ever floods.
Or think
Very
about
persistent.
Yes. Or think about how hard it is to change the flow of a river.
Right.
The downside to water is it is the crotchety old man that has tuna salad every Sunday.
Right.
It is the crotchety old guy and the crotchety old woman that expects things to be the same way every day.
Right.
Every morning I get up, I had my tea, my coffee. If anything goes out of whack, my day's ruined. It is that routine part of us. Make sense so far?
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Now, these, again, what happens when you take these four elements and merge them together into one? You get
Spirits.
Captain Planet, actually. Did you not watch that cartoon?
Sorry.
No, you're actually right. We get spirit. All right? And here's the problem. Everybody has a hard time understanding what spirit energy is. Or why we talk about the elemental of spirit. Spirit does not actually have something that represents it.
No.
It is really the elementals in balance with one another, creating this life force energy.
Right.
And this life force energy literally permeates this whole entire world like it's going out of style. It is in every tree, every blade of grass, every insect, every flea, tick, worm, virus. Literally, if it is alive, it has spirit energy.
Right.
Just because it has spirit energy does not necessarily mean it has a soul. But spirit energy is life force itself.
Right.
This is what we use to conduct magic. But to conduct magic, we have to use the lessons from the elementals. We have to have faith in what in the world we're doing. Unquestionable, unshaking faith. We know it will work. Then you have to have the will, the emotional need to create the energy. And then you got to have the imagination to know exactly what in the world you want, to focus that energy to exactly where you need. And then you're going to have secrecy enough to keep your mouth shut so it can do its job.
Right. Don't go off blabbing of it. Well, I did this spell.
I'm sorry. Everyone on TikTok who cast a spell and videotape doing it, the spell didn't fucking work because you didn't keep it a secret.
No.
You have to keep it a secret from yourself. Because magic's kind of like having a dog or a cat. You create it, you send it out there in the world, it does what it's got to do.
Right.
It will eventually return home. And when we're using the witch's pyramid and the elementals in this way, we are creating magic. We are using that life force energy to change reality.
Right.
All right. Again, something we don't do willy-nilly. But then I see all these people out here talking about the elementals like they're their best friends and all this. I hate to be this way. Elementals are not your best friends. And trust me, if you sat down and merged with them,
right,
and told them, teach me what you need to teach me, you'll regret it for the rest of your life.
Well,
to a certain extent.
To a certain extent, because I remember when I learned my lesson from the elementals, It was during my preparations for first degree initiation,
Yeah.
and it was brutal. I mean, it was brutal.
There's they teach you some harsh truths about yourself.
It was very brutal, but I don't regret experiencing that and learning those lessons.
Well, I mean, I can tell you right now, Lady Keegan, she learned her lesson
Oh yeah.
from the elementals. I remember getting that phone call, and it was, hey, I got this hang up with fire.
Right.
Water won't let me work with them. It just keeps on closing the door, and fire keeps on popping up going, hey.
Right. I'm here.
I'm here. Well, you thought we were done.
Right.
Our date's not over with. They charge extra. The elementals can be very brutally honest because they don't live on our plane of existence. They don't look things the way we do.
They sure don't.
Their ethics and morals and way of thinking is completely different than ours. I believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there was an agreement made between humanity and the elementals, and the elementals, to a certain extent, act like soldiers. They follow orders.
That makes sense.
Right? Hence the reasons, wizards and you can get them to do things. But if you don't do it a specific way and you don't show them the proper respect for each one, they're going to leave. And I'm sorry, for all of y'all who do the whole entire 2-page poems for the elementals, they left after the first 5 sentences.
Right.
They were like, I don't care, whatever, I'm gone.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
You buttering the wrong side of your bread there. You summon us, we show up, we do our jobs.
Right.
We leave.
You don't need
if
this.
you're going to do it, the elementals are along the lines of, hey, if you're going to take 2 pages just to summon me, I'm leaving. Because that means there's another 2 pages for the next element, and all 4 of them I'm going to have to sit here and listen to, and I ain't got time for that.
Right.
Makes no sense to me. If you're not calling them within like 5 lines or less.
Right. They're not even going to show up.
No, because
they might peek their head around the corner, but then they're going to be like, no.
I've taught enough circle casting, and if you ask any of my students, they'll be the first ones to sit there and tell you, yes, we flat out tell you, when you're learning how to cast circle, you will cast it in 5 minutes or less.
Right.
It should not take 2 hours.
No.
It shouldn't take an hour. It shouldn't take 15 minutes. It should be 10. You should know how to get in there, do this, get out.
Right. You don't need any excess, anything. Keep it simple.
Simple. But yes, so you have the elementals in perfect balance with, well, I shouldn't say perfect balance, but within balance with one another.
Right.
Can create the life force.
Right.
And the reason I don't think perfect balance is because life energy is kind of messy. But if you can imagine a seesaw that have boards all the way around in a circle,
mm-hmm.
and imagine each of the elementals taking up a certain spot on this, right?
Right.
You might have more water than you do the other elements, but that focal point can change to balance it all back out to create life energy.
Right.
You might, for a while, have more fire energy than water energy, and that focal point will change to keep on creating spirit energy. But spirit energy is separate from souls. Does this make any sense?
Okay, now you're stepping into...
I'm stepping into something else, but I'm trying to do this so we can talk about spirit energy.
No, I know, but I'm just saying right now you're stepping into unfamiliar territory for a lot of people, so I'm just going to say it. Explain yourself.
All right. We believe that spirits or souls are spiritual beings that live on a different plane of existence than ours.
Right.
For them to exist or to be able to maintain themselves in this reality, they need a environmental suit, which is our bodies.
And a vessel.
They need a vessel to inhabit. Outside that vessel, the souls tend to break down really fast. So souls that stay, that don't cross back over, are slowly being ground down by this world, slowly being killed off by this world. Don't get me wrong. Some of them will leave psychic energies in places that will last for years. And here's where you have these so-called honings or these houses with these bad feelings in it.
Right.
If anybody's ever watched like Babylon 5, the whole entire thing of this is there's a point in evolution that people get to where they finally shed their mortal body and become a pure being of thought and energy.
Okay.
Right? You also see the same concept in like Stargate S1 is that there are these beings that are pure energy. This is what we think of souls.
Okay.
They're nothing but pure energy. They are pure thought. And the thought that they have themselves is what keeps them together and alive.
Okay.
Right? Whatever souls live off of or whatever realm they live off of, when you're over there, when you're in the other side, that is your soul's natural state of being. Yes, it's the afterlife because it's after this life or before this life, depending on how you look at it.
Right.
But that's the soul's natural state versus spirit energy, which is nothing more than the life force. Every dog, cat, like I said, everything has this. And yes, we can tap into that and use that energy. Hence the reason we use herbs and stuff and certain herbs and incense to get a certain vibration, a certain energy.
Right. That's the spirit energy.
That's that spirit energy from these things. Just like we don't believe that you have to do a spell that's needed when Mars is in retrograde to Uranus and there was somebody with a glove and the electric slide was done. All right, and there's some isosceles triangle.
Right.
These things lends its energy when we need it to give a little bit of a boost. But it's still not the core of the spell. It's still not the actual oomph of the spell.
Right. You don't need that.
You don't need it, but it does help.
It can't help.
And I mean, just like, we discussed in a previous video, our thought of circle casting. And the fact is that we honestly believe that we can warp space and time.
Right.
So if we can warp space and time, why in the world do we need to wait for Mars to rise or a certain planet to rise in a certain hour? Time's irrelevant to us.
Right.
We could just pull that energy out of its time stream and put it in ours. It's a piece of cake. These are the things that give us the tools to do it. I'm not completely telling you how to do it. There's some tricks and stuff in there and some mysteries that we can't discuss. But, I mean, this is all there is. And I see these people treating the elementals as flippantly as anything else and not giving them the respect that they deserve.
Right.
But yeah, we're talking about beings that still live on the same planes of existence in the equivalent of the dragons, the unicorns, the angels, and all these. They're celestial beings.
But again, if you don't show them the respect that they're due.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I've worked with a lot of these different energies and stuff in this, what we're talking about, celestials. And elementals are a little bit more primal energies, and they're pretty impressive.
Yes.
When actually dealing with them and working with them. Now, don't get me wrong. When you're sitting down and you're meditating and communicating with them in a meditative state and letting them teach you lessons and stuff like that, trust me, these things are powerful enough. You'll realize it real fast that, yeah, they can kick your ass to the middle of next week.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't use it for that. I don't know about you, but I've never been in fear of an elemental.
No, I've never felt threatened.
But yet, I know for a fact that these things could easily, with a thought, destroy me.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you don't get past that. You tend to be more awe and ooh over it than you are scared.
Right.
So, I mean, I hope that makes sense on how all this works together, how the witch's pyramid is associated with the elementals and why they work the way they do.
Well, I think that pretty much explained it, and I hope the point got across.
Well, I mean,
If it didn't, please leave us a message on this. I mean,
these things are just like anything else. They have their positive attributes, but they also have their negative. There's always a balance in this. What one elemental can't do, the other one can.
right.
And again, the elementals are also broken up into male and female. Fire and air are considered male energies, while earth and water are considered female energy.
Right.
So channeling those powers are not, what we say, easy by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it takes dedication. It takes work. It takes communing with them, learning from them, getting to know them.
And their actual function in creating sacred space is very important. It's a mystery, and I can't talk about it, but yes, they are part of the circle casting process for a reason. And for those who are about to get mad at me, converting them to angels or dragons or anything else, that's not their jobs.
No.
That is part of the elemental's jobs. That's part of their responsibility. That seems to be part of that agreement with them, that they are there to help us facilitate this sacred space to commune with the deity.
Right.
I don't know how else to say that. I mean, yes, you can call these others in, and you could get there, but I've never seen it as the same.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I have personally cast circle with angels, and it's never quite the same.
No. I mean, it's there. I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to, but it's...
Right. It's not the same.
I don't know how to explain that. It's kind of like wearing the wrong size shoes.
Right.
You can actually wear them. They're only slightly bigger than what you need them to be.
Right.
Or too small when you can wear them for a little while, but it still don't quite feel right.
Right.
It is a feeling. I think I'm about out of coffee.
All right.
All right. I guess we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another thrilling episode of Pagan Coffee Talk. We are on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We are on YouTube. If you want to leave us a comment, fly on over to the YouTube channel. Leave us a comment there. You can drop us a line on Facebook. We're on Messenger. Join us next time. All right. Thanks, y'all.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning